Hey everyone! In my last video I talked about the dangers of chemical sunscreen and why I personally don't use it. But of course, I also do not want to get any sunburn because sunburn is definitely bad for you. However, there are many different ways to prevent sunburn. Sunscreen is one of them, which I prefer not to use, so I use different ones. So I'm going to share with you today a number of different ways you can prevent sunburn based on scientific evidence so you can protect yourself even better whether you use sunscreen or not. So the first thing is more of a behavioral thing, which is start exposing yourself to the sun already early in spring. The reason is that the sun intensity is measured in UV intensity, and UV intensity slowly increases from spring up to summer, and when somewhere in summer it will reach its maximum point. Now the problem is that a lot of people are inside all day and they never expose their skin to the sun until the sun is at its maximum intensity, and then suddenly they want to go out in summer and expose their skin to the sun at maximum intensity, and the skin never saw any sun in the months before. Now of course you can imagine this is going to lead to some issues. The skin is not going to be able to tolerate that very well, and it is easy to get burned. However, if you start exposing your skin to the sun already early in spring, it can more gradually get used to exposure to gradually increasing intensity of the sun and also gradually increasing exposure time. So you're actually building up sort of a tolerance, but this time you're doing it gradually. And at that point, when the summer comes, your skin is able to take much more heat, so to say, before it gets burned, instead of just sitting inside all day and then suddenly exposing your poor skin to the highest intensity of the sun. So that is the first thing you can do to prevent sunburn. Start exposing your skin early. The next thing we can look at is how do we actually get damaged by the sun? Well, when UV light from the sun reaches our skin, it does a number of things. First of all, it oxidizes proteins and fats in our skin. And secondly, it does some damage to the DNA in our cells. Now, in order to prevent this damage, we have to address those two different things. Firstly, of course, the oxidation of the proteins and the fats. Well, to prevent that one, we have to look at antioxidants. As the name suggests, antioxidants are going to prevent oxidation. So these can actually help us prevent damage by the sun in our skin. Now the most commonly found antioxidants in the skin are vitamin E and vitamin C. So studies have actually found that supplementing vitamin E and vitamin C can help prevent sunburn. So this is a very easy way to start protecting yourself even more from the damage of the sun. Another interesting study showed that chocolate and cacao consumption can also help prevent sunburn. And this is probably because chocolate is also full of antioxidants, which can again help to prevent this oxidation of proteins and fats in the skin as a result of UV light. Thirdly, there is a supplement called niacinamide, which is actually just a form of vitamin B3. And a very interesting study found that supplementing niacinamide was able to prevent the recurrence of skin cancer in people that were having a high risk of skin cancer. So I'll put that study where they found that down below in the description. So we have niacinamide, we have chocolate, vitamin E, and vitamin C. And then finally, there's also a supplement based on a specific plant, which is called, let me read it, Polypodium Leucotomos. I hope that pronounced that right. Which is some sort of plant. I believe it's found in South America. And they found actually that that plant in supplement form, they did studies on this, can significantly help you prevent sunburn. Now, if you already have sunburn, there's another thing you can use to ease the pain and to speed up the healing, which is aloe vera. And aloe vera gel is actually used a lot in hospitals to treat people with real burn wounds. So not from the sun, but burn wounds from fires or maybe chemicals. And they use aloe vera to soothe the pain and to speed up healing. So this can also definitely work when you have sunburn. Now the final thing we should do is to learn from people that live in hot environments. We can look at people that live in the Sahara, people that live in very hot countries around the equator, and what they are doing to prevent sunburn. And we can apply that to our own lives. So what we see, for example, is that those people will often avoid the hottest part of the day. They will work from the early morning till somewhere around maybe noon, and they will take a break, and then they will maybe work again later in the afternoon. This is to avoid the point at which the sun is at its most intense. They actually avoid that. So another thing you can do is what you see in these people is they cover themselves in a wise way. For example, in Asia, you see these people wearing these round hats that end up in a pyramid shape, kind of. And this hat makes sure there's always shade in their necks when they're working in the fields. So they're using clothing in a strategic way to sort of cover their skin up in certain areas. And they are not just like exposing their skin to the sun without break for hours on end. So there are different practices like that these cultures have adopted in order to prevent themselves from getting burned and hurt by the sun that we can also apply in our own lives. So strategically use coverage, maybe avoid the hottest time of the day, switching between sun and shadow, not sitting in the sun for hours on end. So those are also definitely just easy ways you can use to prevent sunburn. So I hope that was useful to you. If it was, please leave a like and subscribe. As I said, all the studies I mentioned or the things I talked about, I will put them down in the description so you can check them out for yourself. And have a nice one. Bye bye.